The return of the whiteboard, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Chip Over the Top Rugby Podcast. My name is Ryan, the host of the Chip Over the Top Rugby Podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe I'm saying this. We are finally getting near to the Six Nations. We are literally 6 days away from, as you're watching this, well, technically 5 as you're watching this, from the kickoff of the 2024 Six Nations. France v Ireland, but I'm not concerned about that today. Today I am picking, if I was Warren Gatland, and thank goodness I'm not, because there's going to be some headaches this week on who he's going to pick in certain positions. But if I was Warren Gatland, if I was the coach of Wales, who would I pick to take on Scotland based on the current availability of Welsh players on the squad that he's picked for the wider Six Nations? Now, before I get into this, make sure you like the video, subscribe for more if you are new here, because there's lots of content to come over the next week and more as we head into the Six Nations. But before I do that, how many of you have watched the Six Nations Full Contact documentary on Netflix? Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm a little bit annoyed that it was from 2023, though, to be honest. I wish they did it, 2022 or the year prior, when Wales actually did something worthy. Obviously, surrounding the whole turmoil around Wales, I think if it wasn't as much, there might have been a bit more featuring of Wales, but hey ho, it is what it is. So let's dive in. So if I was Warren Gatland, if I was the coach of Wales, this is the squad that I would pick. Now, I know for you this is reversed, but trust me, it is there. All right. Based on current availability, who would I pick as the forwards? All right. Let me know if you agree with this as well, because obviously I'm open to discussion. There's a few. The replacements for me were the hardest to decide. There was a couple easy ins for me already. All right, but I'm going to start from the top, and then I'll let you know the easy ins for me, and then the ones that I'm sort of on the fence with. All right, so starting off, I rate Corey Domachowski, so he will be my starting loosehead. At hooker, I know he hasn't had much game time, but he is quite physical. He's not the best scrummager in terms of hooker. That would be Dewi Lake, but obviously Dewi Lake's unavailable. And Ryan Elias would be then second, but I've gone with Elliot D. The reason why I've gone with Elliot D, he's a lot more accurate at the line out, at the set piece. And I think we are probably going to need to be very clinical at line out time when we play Scotland. Coming on the loose head. Now, this is where I was getting a little bit iffy. I wasn't sure whether to go with a Cardiff 1-3, but Leon Brown. He's going to make his start on Saturday for me. As tight head, he's physical. Now, I know you're thinking he'd probably be better off coming on as an impact player, and you could be right. But I think up front, we need physical ball carriers. We haven't got Dewi Lake. And I think Leon Brown around the park is just a physical specimen, right? So having him up front will be good. I know he's coming back from injuries, and he's been back for 8 weeks now, full health. So and he's played well. Obviously a little bit rusty, but maybe getting involved in the Welsh setup again might help. But Warren Gatland could obviously go with who I've got on the bench, Azarati, because obviously he was involved in the World Cups, the warm-up, the wider World Cup warm-up games and stuff. So that's to be determined. Again, I'm not Warren Gatland, so I'm going to go with Leon Brown. Physicality up front. Obviously, I think then for second row, Dav Jenkins, obviously he's captain. And then I've gone Will Rowlands. I don't think Adam Beard makes the cut this time, with Will Rowlands there as the engine in that second room locker area. I think that's going to be 4-5. And the back row, this is where I had the most difficult decisions, okay? I think surefire, Rafael at 7, right? Surefire. At 8, Wainwright, surefire. Faletau was obviously not injured. Fair enough, he might be thrown in there. But Wainwright played very well when he had to come in at 8 and do the job there. So then the real big question is, who plays 6? Who plays blindside flanker? Do you go with someone like Tane Basham, who I have here? He's played for Wales quite well. He knows the system. He knows the setup. Or, I only have Alex Mann here, but do you go with maybe James Botham? Botham is a little bit more physical around the park, but Mann's slightly taller for maybe an alternative line-out option. Possible. Time will tell. Let me know your thoughts. I was even thinking maybe Wainwright at 6, and maybe you see Mackenzie Martin just get thrown straight in at the deep end. Because let's be honest, he's a Falatau mould. He's physical. He's a big lump. And we need that physicality around the park. And that's why the only reason why I brought in Basham really to start is because of that physicality and kind of getting that balance between Basham, Rafael, and Wainwright. For me, starting scrum half is Thomas Williams. I think he's been the most clinical in the regions thus far out of the scrum halves that I've picked. And then I think Gareth Davis would be next up there. Now, number 10 is my next headache. Do you go with someone who we expect to start, aka Sam Costello, who has been tipped as the future 10 for Wales? He obviously followed in Dan Biggar's footsteps. Or do you throw a curveball out there? I don't think Williams is going to start. I think there's a possibility he could. But is it going to be Costello or Lloyd? That is the big one for me. Do you go with Costello, who's been there and done it before? Or do you go, okay, let's see what Lloyd can do in the biggest game of his life against Scotland at the Principality, a.k.a. the Millennium Stadium, ladies and gentlemen. If you agree with me thus far, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs up and let me know why. That would be very appreciative. But I think it's going to be Costello just purely based on he's obviously done it before. And he's been around a little bit longer. Okay, and then I think the 11 to 15 is probably the easiest options for me, all right? I'm going to go Mason Grady on the wing. He's played phenomenal on the wing for Cardiff, and missing out with obviously Zammit not going to be there. I think Grady on the wing just makes the most sense. He's going to be going up against Duhan probably, or Stein, and I think he's got the physicality, he's got the pace, and he's just got that presence, and he's been on fine form for Cardiff, so I think it makes sense to have Grady on the wing. Tompkins and George North 12-13 pairing played exceptional well. This will obviously be dictated upon whether George North is playing 100% in training. I know obviously he picked up a shoulder injury in the last game for the Ospreys out in South Africa, where they won, but 12-13 pairing, just outstanding. On the other wing, Mr. Rio Dyer, who's absolutely incredible out there. And then I think at 15, you could possibly see Kai Evans there, but I think you're going to need a bit more experience and clinical edge back there. And Josh Adams is the guy to do so. I would have put Winnett there if he was fit, but obviously he's still nursing that jaw injury. So there we have it. Corey Domachowski, Elliot D, Leon Brown, David Jenkins, Will Rowlands, Tane Basham, Aaron Wainwright, Tommy Rafael, Thomas Williams, Sam Costello, Mason Grady, Tompkins, North, Dyer, and Adams, 1 through 15. It's actually on paper not a bad side, and it can do some damage, right? When Wales are firing on all cylinders, we can do some damage. And I think the issue, the only trouble I see potentially is the physicality around the park. You're missing Jack Morgan, you're missing Dewi Lake, for example, and you're missing Falatau. So this will be an interesting pack, but I'm looking forward to seeing, for example, who he definitely picks at 6. Does he go with the front row option that I've selected? I don't know. And like I said, who does he pick at 8? Does he go, all right, let's see what Martin can do, and maybe have Wainwright at 6 just to shore things up, and then maybe Mackenzie Martin can come off, and Wainwright can switch to 8, and then maybe Basham comes off the bench. So speaking of the bench, let me just run through it quickly. I know this is going to be controversial because these two names straight off the bat are probably going to be starting, and that is Gareth Thomas and Ryan Elias. They're probably going to be 1 and 2, possibly. I don't know. Azarati is the replacement tight head, but you could argue that could be Leon Brown or vice versa. Then we're going to go with Adam Beard, and I think that's just going to be purely from an experience standpoint later on in the game if necessary. If you don't have, say, Basham, Mann, or Martin, I think Mackenzie Martin might get a chance off the bench. Because don't forget, I think we have England after Scotland, so we might want to rest maybe earlier on than not, but we'll see. Okay, this is where it gets difficult, ladies and gentlemen, because I think the replacement scrum half is obvious. I think it's going to be Gareth Davis. But then who do you have as the replacement 22-23, the replacement backs? I've gone with Owen Williams and Johan Lloyd. But I might change that. I think I'll keep Johan Lloyd there because obviously he's versatile. He can play 10, 15, could probably even slot in on the wing if necessary. But then who comes in as sort of your replacement centre? Do you go with Tom Rogers, or Joe Roberts? It's a tough call. It is a tough call. I don't know. Thank goodness I'm not Warren Gatland. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the Wales v Scotland squad that I would pick for Saturday. Let me know your thoughts below. Obviously, I've already discussed a few areas that I think are going to be difficult for me to nail on for starters. I think from 11 to 15 now is the easiest options. Second row was easy for me and 7 was easy, but everything else was kind of like, all right, just throw a dart and see who it hits. But again, let me know your thoughts below. Subscribe for more, and yeah, I'm excited for the Six Nations, to be honest, this year. I'm really excited. It's going to be a nice change of pace, especially after the success, I think, of the Six Nations full contact documentary. So yeah, let me know your thoughts below. Diolch and Fawr, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe for more. I'll catch you in the next one, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.